What's going on, guys? It's Greg from East Coast Dice, and today we're going to give you a review of the two new heads from Adidas Lacrosse. So the first one is going to be the EQT D-Monic, and then we also have the EQT Bawse. So two new heads from Adidas. They also have a whole new line of gear, and we're going to give you guys a full breakdown on these two heads. So I don't know, a couple years ago when we were in college, around like 2011, Adidas released their first gear. They had a couple heads and some protective, and to be honest with you guys, it was not that great. It was not very successful. It did fail eventually, and now they've come back years later. I mean, Adidas is a global leader in sporting goods in many industries, including soccer, so they definitely have a lot of good expertise, and they're coming back with much improved gear, much improved protective, and hopefully some better offerings this time from Adidas. So we're going to get into both these heads. So first up, we've got the EQT Bawse, Bawse spelled B-A-W-S-E, and I'm not exactly sure what EQT stands for. I've not been able to find that out yet, but this is their offensive head. It's a midfield mostly head. Cost $100, which is kind of consistent with the high end of lacrosse heads, and it weighs 4.95 ounces, which puts it slightly heavier than most other midfield and attack heads. So a little bit more expensive and a little bit heavier than other heads I would put in its range. But as far as looks, it's pretty basic. And if you look at it, it's an X-Spec head, and the face shape is probably my favorite part about this head. You can see it's got a nice X-Spec pinch through here and a really high aggressive flare, which I like for a midfielder head, and I think would be pretty consistent between most midfielders. Then you move to the sidewall design, where it has kind of a sporadic seeming sidewall design. Not a lot of consistency here, kind of different, not a lot of uniformity in the shapes and sizes of the holes here, but pretty evenly distributed and definitely strong enough to give it good stability. It is slightly more flexible than I was expecting based upon the weight and the sidewall strut design and just the thickness of the rails. So you can see, compared to a lot of other heads, this one is pretty easy to flex, which might lead to some durability issues down the road, but does help a little bit with ground balls because the scoop can flex. They can flex a little bit while you're shooting. But as far as like a D-midi head, this probably would not be strong enough to last a whole D-midfield season because it would probably warp or lose some of its shape over time. More of the styling, again, it's pretty simple, no crazy details. The whole head is just a gloss finish. It has here, which I really like, is the outset logos, the EQT Bawse in blue and gray, and the same thing on the front has the outset Adidas logo with the EQT logo. Simple cutaways in the throat to reduce a little weight there, and these aren't cut away, they're actually just imprinted, which is fine. I would have liked to see those get completely cut away though. So overall on the looks, it's nothing crazy. The biggest thing you're going to notice with the Bawse is the offset. Most heads have one place you can really tell it's offset and it goes straight. This kind of has this swooping arc motion, which is unusual for lacrosse heads. There was a couple a really long time ago that did this. So it pretty much returns all the way right to the same peak. So it's not really offset, it just kind of has a swoop through here, which is going to give it a slightly different throwing motion. It definitely affected the stringing as well. For the pocket, we tossed a piece of the new semi-hard Hero Mesh in this one in all white. Good for a midfielder setup, nice smooth release. And it was actually really easy to string, which I enjoyed. That's probably my favorite thing about this head. The face shape, which I said I liked, combined with large, numerous sidewall holes, really big top string holes, made it really simple to string a great pocket for a midfielder, which is, in this case, a mid pocket, one straight, and two nylons. So the stringing, definitely my favorite part. They definitely did a great job with that. A lot of holes, well-sized holes, no misses here. The only thing that did make it a little weird is the swooping arc of the top and bottom rails. Made it a little weird as you transition from pocket to tying the knots down for the channel. But for a mid pocket, that swoop actually kind of falls perfectly with how you want your depth. So it does change a little bit, but not necessarily in a bad way, just a different way. Overall takeaway from this head, at $100, it is expensive. It's not as good as the other $100 heads on the market, but it is definitely the best head Adidas has ever made. That being said, the bar was not set too high for Adidas, but there's some great improvements, some really solid things I like in this head, and overall, a pretty good head, just not for that price. Next up, we've got the D-Monic. This is their defensive offering. This thing is $90, so $10 less than the midfield head, and also weighs 5.6 ounces, which is just slightly heavier than most other defensive heads on the market. So this is made just for defense, hence the name D-Monic, and it is beefy, it's thick, it's stiff. It's definitely a solid defensive offering. So just the overall look, first thing you'll notice is that super wide face shape. I'm going to go on a limb and say this is the widest face shape in all of lacrosse. This thing has an enormous face, almost no pinch and flare at all. It's just very uniform the entire way up. Really fat, super flat scoop, really beefed up throat, a ton of sidewall bracing that's all really thick, which leads to that weight. It also leads to this being super stiff. I wouldn't say that it's stiffer than you know, like a Tank or a Triumph. It's probably equally as stiff. For me, I think that the face shape and the scoop and everything, it lends itself really well to defense, but I would put this more at, you know, like a beginner level defensive head for a player that needs some help catching, needs some help scooping, needs that bigger face area to catch the ball out on that extended deep pole. So for me, I'm seeing this more as geared toward a beginner defensive player. I think it would really work well if you're just starting to use a long deep pole and getting used to having the head further away from your body. This would be perfect for that. As far as an advanced defenseman, a lot of those guys are going to want a slightly more pinched head, something more aggressive, and something that you could possibly push it up on offense with. If you're a guy that plays defense and also likes to run the ball up the field, maybe shoot, score, or assist, this head's probably not for you. It's going to come out too easily. It's just too wide. But from the stringing, it's strung up just fine. They have just as many holes as the Bawse did, which is great. I really like those, the size and the shape and the quantity. Just that face shape made it almost impossible to get a really aggressive, you know, what you kind of want was a mid-high pocket for a defenseman, especially with the head this wide. But in the end, with the Hero Mesh, it turned out really nice. Got a nice mid-pocket shape here, really smooth release. It's just going to be a pocket. Like I said, that would be suited great for a more beginning defenseman with that face shape and the pocket placement and not a lot of whip. So overall, this is a good option. It's really stiff, and you're not going to go wrong with defense there. If you're someone that likes a super wide head, it might be for you. If you're someone that likes your defensive head more pinched, there you can take it up on offense, or just like to play with a slightly more pinched head for more control, this head is definitely not for you. So overall, great stiffness, but don't love the face shape. So in conclusion, this is a big step for Adidas into lacrosse for us, and for everyone in lacrosse. It's great to see huge companies like Adidas get involved. They can bring great resources, new ideas, new athletes. You're going to see them work with some colleges like University of Delaware this year, which I know they're really excited about. So I don't think this is the last you'll hear from Adidas. I think they're going to have a lot more stuff rolling out soon, and this is a great first step, re-entry back in the lacrosse market. So let me know in the comments if any of you guys have used either of these heads, if you've seen them, what you think, how you like the review. Anything you want to let us know, we'll make sure to respond. Make sure to like if you liked it, and make sure to hop over to the TLN app, where we're going to be posting a poll. You can choose between which one you like more, the Bawse or the D-Monic. So you can download the app in the Android and Apple app stores and check out our account at East Coast Dies, and then vote in the poll and check out some exclusive behind the scenes photos. So thanks for watching, guys, and have a great day.